Look at that. Hope you can see these. Love stickers. Absolutely love them. Fall is in the air. If you can't tell, just spend a little more time outside. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it. It's the best time of year. So we're gonna take all those awesome feels of fall, and we're gonna create some landscape illustration in Procreate on an iPad with an Apple Pencil. So to begin, I needed a new iPad background. I figured why not make a video of this awesome illustration style that I've seen all over the internet. I think it was popularized in a game called Firewatch, I believe on the Mac OS. I'll fact check that for you. And yeah, these things are awesome. I see them on Pinterest, Instagram. They're cool to do, and they're basic. I mean, I would say this is not a difficult thing. Beginner level too. I mean, if you're an expert, you can put some serious detail into these and make them your own. So that's where they're great. You can stop at any step of the way. I mean, you could stop with a sketch. It's not gonna have those colors, but I mean, boy, these things are not difficult. So don't get discouraged if you see the final product at the end. Don't skip. Grab your iPad, grab your pencil, and let's get started. To begin, I'm gonna go up to the wrench icon in the top left, hit my canvas, and turn the drawing guide on. So working with a landscape here, and really anything that has perspective, you're going to want to use a perspective guideline. So I'm going to use a red color here for my lines since I'm sketching in blue, and I'm just going to set this where I want my horizon line to be. So this is just going to help keep everything leveled out and working towards that perspective of the horizon. Okay, so I did sketch this out once, very roughly, so I had an idea of what I was doing beforehand, and I'm just going to kind of follow along with what I did before. So with a couple changes, and one thing I realized, and one thing to note is that you don't have to be super detailed with these sketches. Really just work on the shapes of your landscape. So I'm going to build a couple big rocks here in the foreground, and then I'm just going to work my way to the back. And as you can see here, I'm kind of tweaking it as I go, so I'm adding a little bit more to the shape as I move along. So just make it a dynamic piece, so the more you go and further you get into it, the more you will see, and maybe more ideas will come to your mind. So just keep changing it. This is a sketch, remember, it's not your final project, and there's plenty of opportunities down the road in this project where you can make changes. So don't be worried about making mistakes here early, just let it flow. This is a natural landscape, so all natural is your method, so don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, so I'm going to put a pine tree on the right side here, and it's going to be kind of the staple on this for scale. So I like to put something big in the foreground, and then put it again in the distance, and it'll be much smaller. So it's cool to remember that the further something is away, the less detail you'll see. So there's a tip for you. So a new feature in Procreate is the color palettes from a photo. So to do this, you're going to click the color dropper in the top right, you're going to click the plus icon, and you're going to click from photos. It's going to pull up your photos, and you're just going to click whichever photo you want, and it's going to create your own color palette. So colors are definitely something you want to have thought out and planned before you start this. That way you're not going back and changing colors, because there's going to be a lot of layers here. So make sure you think about your color palette first. I wanted to go with a fall color palette for this piece. You know, it's the start of fall. I just wanted to use some fall vibe and colors, so that's where I found these. But definitely put some time into selecting your colors. It's important that they kind of work with each other, so I'll link some resources that I know of that can be of a huge aid for picking colors, so I'll link those below. So what I'm going to do here is I started a foreground layer, so this is going to be the first layer going forward to back, foreground, and I'm just going to start filling in these lines. So really what you do here is you just create the outlines and then you drag and drop and fill that color, and make sure you're on a separate layer each time you do this, so this is all on the foreground. So this is pretty much the process going forward, as you're going to start creating layers, and each new layer is going to have a different color, so that's why it's important to have your colors planned out. That way it's quick and you can just start tracing. So how you can see I'm moving on to the bear here. This is the second layer, and you just want to make sure that these layers are all beneath the foreground layer. So that's why I labeled my foreground, so I can make sure that it's on top. And you just want to make sure these shapes are connected. That way your color easily drops in and it's a drag and drop. So just work your way all the way back to the background, and as I said before, it's pretty easy to make changes here because there's no line art really. It's just a fill color. So definitely if you want to add some more detail to things, it's easy to do that here. So go crazy. instead of just doing a solid color background for the sky here, I wanted to incorporate a gradient, and there's a really easy way to do this with a feature in Procreate. So I'm just drawing these colors across the sky here, and then what you do is you click the effects tool up in the top left and click the Gaussian blur and blur that by the layer, and you just slide your pen across until you're happy with the blur effect. And really simple. So just make sure that your sky is on a separate layer, otherwise you're going to blur out other elements. So okay, my colors are done. I've got all the layers filled, and the next thing to do, and this is kind of where you can make your own decisions whether how detailed you want to get, but I'm going to go ahead and add some shadows. So because the sun's setting, I'm going to play with that, and that's going to be my light source, and I'm going to add shadows on these mountains and hills, and pretty much going backwards to forwards here with shadows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer on top of each layer, and it's going to be a clipping mask, and that's where I'm going to use my shadow. So I'm going to go to black, and I'm going to drop it down to like probably around 10%, just so it's real light, but it's going to add a cool element to these mountains and hills. And you can leave it like this. I think it looks great too. But I just kind of like to take it that extra step. Okay, I'm going to continue on adding these shadows, and this does take a little bit of time because you want to make sure that, one, it's not in the wrong spot, that it doesn't make sense why there'd be a shadow there. So kind of put a little bit of thought into it, act as if the sun was shining and giving you a direction there. So take a little time to plan out those, and so I'm going to finish these shadows and add some trees and a little bit of some icons here on these hills to give it some more texture and make it a little bit more scenic. now that I'm pretty much done with the shadows, one of the last steps here is just any fine details that you want to add to the foreground or anywhere in between. And so I'm just going to add some like brush or shrubbery sticking out here off the rocks, and maybe adding a little bit more rocks to the foreground here. And once you finish that done, you're pretty much done. I'll probably add some birds in the background, give it some distance, you know, the classic little curved line birds that everybody used to draw as a kid. So add a few of those, why not? And yeah, maybe some stars, give the sky a little brightness, and you're done. Thanks for sticking it out. Thanks for watching this video, and hopefully you learned something. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help teach some other people some things that I've picked up along the way, and to learn for myself how to make cool videos, tutorials. So it's a win-win. Hopefully you're taking something away, and I love making this stuff. So if you enjoyed the content, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be dropping more videos like this. They're uploading. I just upload the video. You don't drop them. Dropping albums, just uploading videos over here, drawing on my iPad, and having a good time. We're having a good time on this channel. Thanks for sticking it out. I hope you enjoyed something, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.